welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Wednesday, August 25th, 2021, and today's topic is called Eastern Skies, Florida to Australia. And we're welcoming back the Australian SkyFiles, part of this show, part number 4. And I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to YowieGrrrowlz in Eastern Australia for providing some beautiful images again this time for us to take a look at and analyze a bit. So, Eastern Skies in the title is also talking about not only Eastern Australia, but eastern coast of Florida. Decided to break away from the Miami skies a bit and have a refreshing change and check out the skies up along the coast of Florida heading north toward the border. So let's get into things, and before we do, I'd like to say good day, osio, hao, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobrohonya, annyeonghaseyo, Boatarji, Dobry Dan, Aloha Winala, Galimera, Hudenda, and good day. And today's starter image is once again combining with the Words, Wisdom, and Spirit of the Day page. There is so much I want to talk about on this slide, but I'm going to have to really condense it. There's just really too much. But anyway, we've got the image on the right is of a lion, a statue of a lion at the Bridge of Lions in St. Augustine, Florida. And I pulled a card this time from the TheGOODTarot deck just to talk about a few things here. So the not by coincidence and quotes, we've got a lion image and a lion here. So got a nice fearless theme. You know, be fearless, be encouraged in yourself. And so the message from the card straight up is strength and endurance. I can go the distance and know that everything occurs in divine appropriate timing. I am strong enough to move mountains and overcome any obstacle, inside or out. That's a beautiful spirit to hang on to and go forward with in life. So we've got the number 8, which is, August 8th, or 8/8 is referred to as the Lion's Portal, Lion's Gate Portal. I'm not going to touch on that on this show, but invite you to check around what that means. I also like that the number 8, if you turn it on its side, it's the symbol for infinity. And if you've looked at any of my previous shows, you know that I talk about the concept of an artificial sun or solar simulator. Do look at my previous shows for my thoughts on that, and also a ton of other Earth and Sky watching channels on YouTube right now. It's people like myself, like you or me, going out and making direct observations of what's going on in our skies. And so I like this sense that this is like the artificial sun to me over her shoulder, and he's got the artificial light over his shoulder. And then to me, this would be the warm glow of our real sun that's kind of off page here because it's being obscured by this, or, the limelight, let's just say, is being stolen and focusing here, but the true sun would be like over here, sending its warm healing and divine rays down. And that's what's bathing these two figures. So anyway, that's just a little fun on that for now. Now, as far as fearlessness, I really do want to seriously touch on this on a serious note. I don't normally do it, but there's so many energies happening in the world right now that are just, really intensifying, and I know that's for a reason. All of our systems in place, current systems, need to be thrown into light, whether it's artificial or natural, and put into question. So really question everything in your life going on right now, because that's what we're being asked to do on a bigger spiritual level. In the epic battle, spiritual battle between good and evil, or light and dark, however you want to look at it, positive and negative. But for right now, I just want to say that there's 2 places I'll refer you to for more of a metaphysical line of things, strength and encouragement. You can go look at, if you like, the book, The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. There's a wonderful chapter or bit in there talking about facing your fears, walking right up to them and facing them. If it's your lion, walk up to that lion and face it, and then absolutely, most often than not, probably like 99.999% of the time, that fear will just disappear. That's it. When you face it, it goes away. So right now, just take a moment to look at your life, and what do you fear most? Do you fear loss of something, like a job or people in your life or whatever, if you decide to do one thing or the other? Okay, so what? If you're fearing death, okay, so what? Happens to all of us. There's so many examples, like, what is your deepest fear? And the moment you really, really look at it, I think, you can finally get to a point where you just say, okay, so what? And the moment you remove all of that fear, your life just, takes on a wonderful meaning. And so anyway, I just want to say, with all of the biggest chaos happening around right now is people trying to force other people to do things they may not want to do or know they don't want to do, in terms of, what I'm talking about with the injection. And I stand firm on no to the injection. And we have everything that we came here on this earth with. You know, we came with more than what we need. And that is not one of those things that we need. And so, yes, it's a personal choice. I honor and respect that. And conversely, everyone should be respecting everybody's personal choice, especially for people who know it's toxic to them and know for sure it will kill them. And so there needs to be room for everyone to make their own decisions. Now, if you're being coerced or forced, you got to question, is that a loving source? Does a loving source try to put fear into you, or, doubt or anger or haste or desperation? Absolutely not. Fearlessness is, an environment of full love and support in that way, and freedom, total freedom. Anyway, if you're in a position where you're feeling definitely a lot of pressure, if somebody's saying, well, if you don't get this injected into your body, you have to move out, just say, okay, so what? That's facing a fear. What's the worst thing? You don't want to move out, but you might be told you have to move out and have no way around it. Just say, okay, so what? You're going to be divinely, totally supported. Once you stand aligned in truth with who you are, nothing can harm you. If someone says, okay, you're going to lose this job, okay, so what? Was it really a job worth having if somebody's going to do that to you? The answer is no. And so just say, okay, so what? Now, if you want 3D support, Earth support on your rights, even if you're in another country, this is a great YouTube channel to go check out. It's the Healthy American, Peggy Hall, on YouTube, or Living Swell with Peggy Hall, I believe is the backup channel. Her website is thehealthyamerican.org, O-R-G. Peggy Hall is spelled P-E-G-G-Y-H-A-L-L. And it's all about freedom and self-empowerment and what you can do, and there's a ton you can do. Do not be fooled. You do not have to do anything you do not want to do, no matter what country you're in. Take a look there for some inspiration and some action points of what you can actually do. And stand up and push back. That's it. That's fearlessness. That's owning yourself and owning your world. So look at this lion, back to the lion. Lion's got a firm grip on everything happening in its world, and it and its strength and its fearlessness is bigger than anything else that could be going on in the world. All right, I'm going to move on, and let's see what's going on with the sky observations. So this is in Florida, North Florida. Actually, this one's in St. Augustine looking west. And first of all, I got to back up a step. Welcome, whether you're new or returning to this channel. I'm so happy you stopped by, and thanks. So if you're returning, you're going to skip this bit when you're able. I'm just going to lay down the basics if you're new, just to what I'm doing. So do look at some of my previous shows for a more lengthy version on this. I'm going to really truncate it and make it short this time around because I spent a little too much time on the intro page than I wanted to. So if you are new, I'm just taking photos wherever I go. In this case, usually it's Miami, Florida. Now I'm breaking out and adventuring, looking at other skies up the coast. But I take an original photo just with a camera phone, and then I put some enhancements on it later. So I just edit attributes of the photo, such as color, saturation, contrast, and brightness, just to get at a little bit better at what I'm suspecting is going on in the skies and what I can kind of barely glimpse with my naked eye. Now, the camera phones are great because they give a much vaster range of light and photosensitivity and help reveal things that we don't normally maybe clearly see with the eyes, the physical eyes, but that we might sense is there with our spiritual sense, third eye, or spidey sense, if you will. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. And you're going to see strange cloud activity in quotes. Cloud means I suspect cloak and craft is going on. When I talk about cloaking material, it's just my go-to word's plasma, just meaning that it's something denser than water vapor that does a great job at cloaking things. So there's going to be a lot of clues and tips as to why I suspect cloaking activity. And again, I invite you to look at any of my previous shows. I think there are 108 previous shows to check out why. So let's get going. So in this one, right off the bat, I just see a white artificial glaring sun. Again, I talked about the artificial sun or solar simulator for you to take a look at that and more time on your own if you're not familiar with that concept. But anyway, totally bright, white, and glaring. And then we have some weird things of different densities and angles happening, all in this area, and a little bit of disturbances. Whenever I see stuff like this that's choppy and fuzzy in the overall sky to the naked eye, I call that staccato cloud or staccato, just referring to this choppiness and intermittent character that is not typical cloud cover. So anyway, let's look at this with some enhancement. Now, it does look like a clear circular object here, but also some other glaring source above it, and then a different light source happening down here based on the color signature. So that's just what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing two different light sources happening. This is more in the reddish family range. This is more gold. And then we've got this red-pink signature happening up here, and I invite you to look at the description box below at what could be causing that red-pink signature. And then I blow out the brightness even more just to get at what these two things at C and B might be. This has a really straight, clean edge up here, and this has a straight line coming this way at a different angle right next to each other. So I'm going to say this overall thing is a cloak and craft. I don't think it's two different pieces. I think it's all part of one thing. And then down here, look at this. If you look at it on a skewed plane, look at this as a straight line coming across, like balancing wings on something, and like a jelly bean shape. And since I've blown the brightness out so much, anything sticking like this, it has more of a mass to it. And the stuff around it has a different color signature, so that implies a different density. And then we look at 8.2, and this looks like also I suspect that there's a cloak and craft in here, because we had a straight line here, different color signatures within this overall body. Anyway, take a look more on your own. And as I say, looking at this and presenting this from a very strong technical background over many decades, and artistic and cultural and metaphysical, a little bit of everything. So that's just my perspective, but see what you see. If you have any interesting angles on what else it could be that I'm presenting, feel free to put it in the description box. I'm sorry, comment section below. All right, now we're going to look in at this angle of this sun. Was a slightly different time or day. I can't remember. But anyway, we got that weird effect of a bright, bright white sun, in quotes. And then look at 8.1. There's something of mass, like a density happening right above it. I don't know exactly what that is, but it looks like it has a little bit of a design to it. You know, it's like circular with something kind of protruding out. See what you think is going on there, though. Then we're going to look south now, and this overall thing was just odd because it was true south, and it wasn't picking up refractions or reflected light coming off from the west off to the right here. So I just thought, let's take a closer look. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, we've got this overall form, which is coming on down on this angle, while we have this coming across down below, if you follow my cursor, at a more level angle, and it's all within the same proximity of each other. So this isn't just typical clouds passing by. This isn't even the consistency of any known cloud, formation you can name from the past decades. That's not a cumulus cloud, no way. Then we've got these weird strands coming off of it, and now I'm not sure if this whole thing is zooming off this way, and those are strands behind it, or I think what's happening is there's an object that's spraying up out of this thing, and that's the trail, and there's that like fuzzy shape of it. I'm not sure on that. See what you think. Then we've got an interesting thing. We've got this thing coming across in a straight line, but then we got a fuzzy, like a fuzz out happening in front of it, which could be more of like a interdimensional craft or something, cloaking happening in front of it. Anyway, see what you think to all of this. All right, now we're going to look west through some buildings, and we're going to focus on some of these elements. Look how strange this is. As you know, if you've watched my channel, I love this backlighting effect. But look at this. We have like a, more or less, a triangular shape. There's some weird little points that were kind of popping up out of it over here from the original. We've got something of density here, but like cloaking material over it. And look at this, a pure crescent form with a pure bridge or stick, coming to this on a totally different angle. Totally different from all of this. This is not a cumulus cloud. This is like loosely disintegrating and whatever. Looks like it's sitting on a cloud of other density. So I'm going to call this a cloaking craft, this overall thing. I don't know if there's many pieces to this or this is all one animal. See what you think. All right, we're going to look at this a little more closely. Look at this, How do you have a crescent and then this going off at a totally different angle? If wind is presumably moving over like this, then there's actually no wind that day. Okay. Then this, we get a little closer look at this little frayed, weird little stuff. That's no typical cloud either. So what do you think is going on? Then we got this like, little straight bit happening here. And then over here to the left, we got a straight line, straight angles in here. So I'm going to say it's cloak and craft. We don't get, you look at this form too, kind of like piggybacking on this whole thing. It's like an elongated triangle. So I'm going to just say this whole thing is riddled with different parts and pieces of cloak and craft. See what you think though? Okay, this is just a straight up original shot of a original image of a lamppost in, actually this is also St. Augustine, Florida, with some interesting hanging moss or lichen coming off some of the trees, the oak trees. All right, now we're looking south, and here we go. These are chemtrails. If you're not familiar with the concept, look at a previous show that I have, or go see a very interesting documentary called The Dimming on Dane Wigington's site. It's very informative. But anyway, the concept is that there are these trails going up filled with chemicals, and what happens is they spread out over time. This is not a condensation trail which comes off a plane and dissipates, it's just ice crystals that dissipates in the atmosphere within a matter of minutes. This stuff hangs and lingers on for hours on end. It spreads apart and turns what is a normally blue sky or light blue sky now these days into white over time. And that is to mask out potential view of objects coming into the Earth's neighborhood, in quotes. See what that could be in the description box below. And also to kind of help mask out and what's going on with this intense white artificial glaring sun tech these days. Now we're going to spend time on F probably more than anything else, but we're going to look at it with enhancement, and here we go. Oh, another excellent site to look at to see what all of this is veiling and not letting us see in our atmosphere is a YouTube channel called The Final Days. And, I'm just sending you there for the direct observations in the skies, not for the whole religious component. If that suits you, great. I don't necessarily agree with all of that. I don't think it's final days. I think we're in a time of a shift of days. Maybe end of days that we have known, but for a better, improved, new and improved reason, not for chaos and doom and destruction. Anyhow, we're going to spend time over at F over here to the right. And I'm trying to get my cursor here. So we're going to look at this element. It's curious because it looks like a zoom up movement, just something springing off this way. So not only we have an angle here, angle here, angle here, we have a chemtrail happening real time. I saw it moving up this way. And look at this one from prior, at some point in the day. It's coming straight across here. A lot of strange activity. This, I think, is a cloaking craft because of the movement of it zooming up. And we got something strange happening over here too. So I'm going to look at that a little more closely. Look on the right-hand side. And here, this is why I think it's a craft, because we have solidity here, and we've got like a trailing of vapor happening here. And again, that just, you wouldn't have a normal cloud system moving along and then just something springing straight up out of it. That's why I assume that it's or presume it's a cloaking craft. And then these little weird bits here too. Looks like the end of a pipe. This looks like the, either the cloaking technique of a cloaking craft or it's coming in and out of state. That's what I'm going to say on that one. And then here we're going to look southeast, and we see some warm, like really intense red pink. Unfortunately, we have this scar of a 5G tower blocking our landscape. But anyway, we got some strange things, kind of notch outs of what could be causing that shape in this overall system. This more solid thing could be a cloaking craft. I'm not totally sure on that one. Then we're going to look west, and this weird thing starts sprawling across the sky. Looks very artificial. The consistency of this whole quote-unquote cloud is very artificial looking. Got these weird strands coming out too. So we're definitely looking at this with some enhancement, and here we go. Things are choppy, so once again I call that the staccato effect, and I don't think I explained why. If I did already, pardon me, but what I think is causing this blur out and stuff is cloaking craft or multiple cloaking craft that are sending out either electromagnetic wave activity or other types of frequencies and wavelengths to make the local atmosphere choppy or disturb the atmosphere, so you can't quite get a good grip on what you're looking at. That's what I'm going to say. So this one's weird because even though we have like street lights and stuff going on, this was like a big whiteout in the middle of this thing. So look at that shape. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I gotta say that's cloaking craft. And then you look at B.1, and that's also a distinct shape with density and a little neighboring buddy, kind of a similar shape. So I gotta say that's little like scouting craft or companion craft to something overall bigger happening in here. Especially if you look at a previous show that I have with a standalone cloud with a lightning show going off in the middle of it. Was one of my previous shows, recent ones, just show undeniably there's a lot of artificial things at play in some of these odd-looking overall cloud formations. Now we're just going to take a look at that bridge of lions. The lions would be standing over here to the right, across the little bay area. Then we're going to look now. This is more chemtrails. This is, I observed it happening coming down. Here you see some that have already been fraying out and sprawling out in the sky over time. Got a couple parallel lines, 3 parallel lines here. That didn't happen naturally in the sky. Then we are to see evidence of the red petal, the petal lens effect that goes around the sun. That's part of the artificial solar tech happening. I talk about that in previous shows. You're going to see it coming up more glaring in a second when I put the enhancement on this overall thing. So I was in a parking lot looking up toward the east, and I thought it would be fun to do what she so expertly demonstrates on the Final Days channel, YouTube channel, where you see the artificial sun, and then you go behind a pole, and it like completely hides, the light source, which a natural sun would not be hidden. Anyway, let's first look at this with enhancement. And you see this artificial text. So the lens flares here, these are not lens flares. This is a petal array, like a lens petal array that goes all the way around this tech. And we're going to look at it here. So here I tried to do the behind the pole effect. It pretty much worked, but we have a little bit more of a glaring effect because it's picking up on this chemtrail stuff. And then here we have like an original source happening here. But if it were a true sun, it just wouldn't even be this neatly behind the pole. Now, on the Final Days channel, she shows evidence where it just totally disappears behind the pole. So this is a similar effect. Look, what's interesting here is we've got like a yellow color and then the pure white going into reds around there. So there are a lot of question marks there, but we're going to keep moving along. So here's a view looking west, and what caught my attention was this, strange formation. It looks pretty clean, this line with all this other stuff going around it. It looks like something zoomed in here. This looks like the trail coming behind something overall that's cloaking and hiding here. Again, intensely looking artificial sun we'll get to in a minute. And here's with some enhancement. This looks like a more solid object, with more lighter, cloaking material coming wafting in the front. We're going to look again here, just with more enhancement, clean line. It's a really pretty clean line happening here. And then, this is not only looking strange in pure white, which the normal sun wouldn't do. It would have some warmth to it. Anyway, we're going to look more at that little artificial feature. So here, even on the left, the original, start to see this red effect. And then we look to the right. There they are, these petal lenses happening all the way around. Again, over here is where my cursor is the actual lens flare. And there's only one per light source, so that's it. And this is other tech. We're seeing evidence of it. Now, and it's picking up on the camera phone because the camera phone has that vaster range of photo and light sensitivity. It's amazing. Now, looking here just to illustrate a point. So because we've got the artificial tech on the sun happening, it's making the light really feel white and washed out when you look at it on a landscape. And with the original more yellow sun, we would be looking at things more in this family over here on the right. Probably the real perception for us would be somewhere in the middle of these two. Anyway, let's keep going. Now this is looking west-southwest, and I start to see like a tread pattern, like the bottom of a shoe or a boot. And then that's moving on this angle, and this is coming in on this angle with some texture and dimension to it. This is coming down on this angle, and we get a curved-like, dome-like thing happening here. So you better believe we're looking at this with enhancement, and here we go. And so we see some dimension to these ridges now. We have a straight line here, which seems to come all the way over here with shadow too. So I think this is an overall bigger shape. And what is this? So if it's a natural cloud system, we should not see anything banking down at this angle, and then we have this dome, clearly pronounced here. Got a weird shape happening over here. Looks like that could also be cloak and craft, but see what you think. And then here we're looking south. Odd formation because of this. Look at the profiles over here on the left-hand side. Sharp point, triangular point. Even the negative is a sharp point, like a triangle. Here's another point. Here's another stick-like thing popping off. That's not a natural cloud. No way. So we're going to look at it with some enhancement, and we really see these edges. Okay, so that's got to be some type of cloak and craft in there. We don't get straight edges like this on a natural cloud system, and definitely not in all of the decades that I've lived on this planet has that ever been natural. So it's got to be artificial or cloak and craft. Now here, this was at some kind of truck stop. I was looking west, noticing this overall strange activity. So if this is supposedly our true sun, we would be seeing evidence of its shine back here, but it's completely masked out and becomes really small. So that tells me there's artificial tech at play. And we've got weird shadows and things looming on. And as I said, I love the backlight situation scenario. We get to see some things very more interesting than we would without the backlighting. So look at this. Straight edge here. It looks like a downturned triangle. Here there's like a symmetrical form. There's this stick and like this body, behind it. It's a symmetrical form, which doesn't, geometrical does not happen with natural clouds. And then even over here, it looks like a triangular shape. And over here, it's like a weird, perfect curve and a point. There's just a lot of high strangeness here, as they say. And then this is poking out. It looks like a machine part or some kind of element popping through this veiled stuff. And here we're just going to look at another, side of this with some enhancement. We see some weird shadowy shape, backlit. Again, what is this? That's not a natural cloud. And then we see some weird activity happening in here. And we're going to zoom in on that, and we get like a hole, like a punch out, like a sky imprint happening here, actually over here too. And that's a perfect triangle, and with a straight edge. And then this is a perfect curve. So there's enough here telling me there's something going on. Even all of this, that's not natural cloud. So see what you think is happening in this one when you have a little more time to look on your own, on your leisure. All right, now we're getting to the fun Australia portion of the show, and we've got something really strange happening here. So YowieGrrrowlz is observing things as well, just like you or me, going out and making direct observations, taking some pictures with a camera phone. And look at this. So we have something really strange and funky, I think we can all agree, is happening over here with the quote-unquote sun. And at the same time, we get this weird thing marching along, equidistant, same angle. To me, that's artificially or, some type of intelligent design or formation at play. So let's take a good look at all of this. So first off with the sun, look at this. It looks like a cell splitting, or like a zygote, dividing. And look at, we got a dark shadowy line even happening between the two. So it's implying they're two parts. The lens flare is this part, the turquoise thing. What's going on over here? I haven't seen this effect in any, actually any other channels really. And I do not believe this is an effect of the camera. I believe this is solar tech or craft, coming in at play. Because look at this, it's symmetrical. There's a stick, this comes off on angles, pure symmetry happening in here, off to the perimeter. We'll look at all of this a little more closely. So here we go, zooming in. What's odd here too is we've got this red signature in pinks and then gold on this side. So what the heck? I'm not going to pretend to know I know exactly what's going on, but I will say tech is going on to create this effect. And I'm not sure what this is. Look at this thing. Symmetrical here, coming down, off angle here. That's not from the camera. So that's either solar tech or something else entering the scene. And now let's look at these guys or girls or whatever you want to call them. It's so we have A through D labeled. And we're going to spend a little more time in close-ups on A and D just because they have a little more interesting features happening around them. But first, we'll take a look at this with some highlighting. What do we call it? Yeah, kind of a form of highlighting. We're going to look at it with enhancement, and we see something looks like it's piggybacking on this thing, and then something looks like it's kind of breaking apart, or this could be like a cloak and craft coming in and out of state, and we're seeing like the edges of it. Hard to say, so we're going to look at it, close up. So we'll look at the 8.2. Again, we got the little thing looks like it's piggybacking. And look at these straight, more or less straight angles that then break off into another straight angle. Same thing here. It's not a natural cloud. Look at that straight line, going off at a splaying at a slightly different angle from this. And it looks like this could be little things piggybacking on the bottom. So I'm calling this cloak and craft, no question. And then we're going to look at the other side. Look how straight that is. Again, breaking off to another straight line. Normal clouds don't do that. And then, this looks like it could be part of a triangular form sitting on another one. And these things actually start to look like the end of pipes back in here, and we're going to get to that closer in a minute. So the 8.3, it's going to look a little bit bitmappy and choppy on a bigger screen. If you look at a handheld device, it should probably read okay. But anyway, this is definitely has just a sense, I have a sense that this is intelligent design sitting on top of something else with intelligent design with two slightly different degrees of cloak. This is a straight line, this is a, cutout of a straight angle here too. That does not happen in nature, in natural cloud systems. And then here we'll go look at D. Again, here's what I think is like an elongated kind of triangle thing, piggybacking on another one. Now here's the end of, at D, letter D, here's the end of the pipe. If you look at the pipe going this way, and here that looks like the end of another pipe. So I'm calling this intelligent design, and we're just seeing it phase in and out of state, or this is the way it cloaks, where something's heavier and then lighter cloak over here. See what you think. And then we're going to look at this one. We've got a straight angle, if you look at it. And that doesn't happen in nature, and it looks like a cutout of a square here, like a chunky square. And look how straight that line is. It's like incised. If you look at the void, the negative there. What's going on? That's not normal cloud. And also it's very choppy. Again, like a form of what I call staccato cloud or cloaking technique. See what you think, though. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. And this is the image of a tip jar in a cafe in northern Florida, and it's really funny. I think the statement there is just absolutely hysterical. And it's also a reminder to talk about currency and flow for a minute, about giving and receiving. And so this little tip jar is funny, trying to coerce you, guilt you into giving money in a funny way. It's just saying money is the root of all evil, so cleanse your soul here, like throw your money in and relieve yourself, right? So anyway, it's a good reminder. It's a little tongue-in-cheek thing there. So it's a good reminder of of currency and flow. So if somebody wants to give you something, don't block the flow. Just, if it's something nice, take it, or, don't be apologetic and say, oh no, just say, oh, thanks. Get used to just saying thanks. Or if somebody gives you something and you want to give something back, so, even if you can't match the worth, give what you can. Give $1 or a smile or a hug. Also, you want to keep that flow going of giving and receiving. Also, some people say that you give with your right hand, you receive with your left, well, for energetic flow-wise. But it's really what your predominant hand is, they say, is giving the power, and your less predominant would be receiving. But really, in my point of view, it's just whatever feels right to you. So, if you're going to send your hand out like, stop, what hand is that? Just instinctively, which one goes out? Because then that's going to be your giving hand, and the other one would be your receiving hand. So anyway, I thank you for being here and stopping by and spending a little time here a while. And I appreciate you so much, and I wish you all the best, and no fear, happiness, tremendous peace and love. Lavender Sky Panther, bye.